Hello. I'd like to take a few minutes to talk with you about our course that we're starting, ALHL 115, Medical Terminology, and it is an online course that you are registered for with the Community College of Baltimore County for this semester. Before I actually get into our course, which is what I really want to do, is take just a few minutes to walk you through how the course works and how it works on software that's provided by the college, which is Brightspace. And that's what we will be using to work through the online course. If you have not used Brightspace before, you reach it through the college's website and your access to the college's website. And so once in Brightspace, once you log in, and the login to it is the same as you use for all your other CCBC credentials. If you haven't used it before, first thing you see on the homepage for Brightspace is a welcome and links to getting started using Brightspace, an orientation video just for using Brightspace. Talks to you about the Pulse app, which you can use on your phone. So if you haven't used it, I suggest that you take the time and go through and learn how Brightspace works. It'll make your work in the course, actually in the course and our course site in Brightspace, much easier for you to use. Down here, it's telling you about Brightspace email. And the email that is available within Brightspace, it only works in Brightspace, but they're also telling you there's directions if you want to forward that email to your other email address, and you can certainly take a look at that. But from here, what you'll see are any of the courses that you're registered for this semester. And the one I'm in particular interested in is, of course, our medical terminology for this semester. So I'm going to click on that. And right now I am in the software as a student. So hopefully my screen is going to look pretty much like what you will see when you log into our medical terminology course. The first thing you'll see is the page comes up on the page with announcements. And here's the announcement that I posted just for the startup of our semester. Just gives you general information about the startup of the semester. There is a link to the introductory video. Of course, you're looking at that right now. So if you've gotten this far, potentially you've already clicked on that link and gotten to where you need to go. But let's just, for review's sake, make sure you understand that you will need a textbook for the course. And you can either buy the textbook from the bookstore, you can buy access to just the ebook from the bookstore, or you can go to the publisher site and buy either the textbook or the ebook. Or if you wanted both, you can rent the textbook from the publisher site. And there is information here on how to reach the publisher site if you want to. If you're going to the bookstore, it's the CCBC bookstore. They do also have an online bookstore. But you want to make sure that you have your book and ready to start on the first day of the semester. We have a lot to do, and you need to have your book, and because we're going to be using the book to work through the whole semester. After you've completed the whole getting started section of the course, which includes this video and some other readings that you need to do, you're going to want to get into the actual content of the course. But if you have questions after you've gone through all the getting started, and I ask that you all try to do that, I send this out and open up the course ahead of time so that hopefully right at the beginning of the course, if you have questions, we can get those resolved so that you don't fall behind. one of the critical things in an online course is you never, ever want to fall behind. Work ahead, um, stay right on target, but don't fall behind. It is too hard to catch up. And again, we're doing a course which is like learning a new language. So there's a lot that you're going to be doing, a lot that you're going to need to remember and work on. So you want to stay right on target. But I will post some meeting dates where we'll do Zoom meetings right at the beginning of the course. And I will send out in an announcement, again, I'll post a new announcement with the links to those meetings so that if you have questions or if you want to just come and hear what other people are asking, there's any changes or anything that comes up and we wanted to talk about, please take advantage of joining one of those meetings. And that announcement would be made right here. The other thing you want to remember is when you're working on an online course, it's important that you stay in good communication with the members of your class, the Brightspace space, and I will be checking in several times a day to make sure if there's any emails, and there up here was the message alert, the email pool, so that if you need to send me a message or an email, you can send it right there. Or if I'm sending messages to the class, again, it would come up there. That's where you would check. And also I try to, if it's something general going to the class, I'll send a new announcement so that you would, as soon as you log in, see that there is an announcement. Then let's take a look. Let's go to content. This is where you're going to be working from in most of the course. Okay. Right now we're in the getting started section. We go to getting started. First thing is the video. Again, you folks have already found that and you're in it. Information about the book and where you can get it. General resources for CCB students. We look there. It takes you or gives you a link to the web page, which would show you where academic advising is, testing center information. Sometimes you want that. All different kinds of departments that would be useful for a student at CCBC or someone who, if you needed answers. And let's go back to getting started. Here's Respondus Quick Start Guide. When we get to a week or so before the midterm, and that would come after units 1 and 2, we'll take the midterm exam. The midterm exam needs to be taken either at a testing center, or if you want to take it at home, you must be able to use Respondus Monitor. And Respondus Monitor is a software that uses your video camera on your computer, your microphone, and of course your computer, so that you can securely take the test online. So you're going to need to actually go in, and I'll send you there'll be an announcement, and I'll send you a message that you need to go in and actually test out and start up Respondus before the actual midterm. So we're sure that your computer is working correctly and that you can use Respondus Monitor. If you do not have good, strong internet, or you don't have a working video or microphone, you're going to need to go to the testing center. But we need to figure that all out before the midterms due, or we get too close to the midterm being due. So you want to make sure, and I'll refer you to that link again when it's time to test out Respondus. Here's discussion citation page for articles. And this is information about how, when we do discussions, and there's 5 of those during the semester, 1 for each unit, you need to make sure that you are citing using the proper form for citing your references. Each of your discussions need references. So again, you're going to maybe want to come back and refer to that information that's there. All right, let's go down. Now that was our getting started section there. Working your way through that. There's a short survey I've asked everybody to take. It just tells me a little bit more about you. And then there is the information syllabus, part 1 and part 2. And this is just the general syllabus information. Again, I'm Margaret Gilbert, and have worked at the college for about 45 years. I did retire, and now I'm just doing adjunct and working, just teaching a few online courses. So I am readily available. I check the messages a couple times a day usually, so that if you're having a problem, please send me a message. And if you want me to call you or want to talk, make sure you give me a good phone number and a good time or day that it would be good to try and reach you by phone. Of course, objectives, all the major topics that we're going to be covered. Now, major topics are kind of go by systems. So you're going to find that each chapter, and we have 15 chapters that we're going to cover the major bodily functions and systems. So we have, again, as I said before, we have a whole lot to cover. So we do want to stay right on target. Evaluation. As I mentioned before, you're going to be doing 5 discussions, and we'll show you how you're going to see where due dates and schedules, but all of those averaged will amount to 10% of your grade. Your unit-based assignments and homework will be 20%. And again, that's the average for everything you do all semester, the average, and that's 20% of your grade. The chapter review exercises, which you'll do at the end of each chapter, will be 20% of your grade. You have 4 unit tests. They'll be averaged, and that will be 30% of your grade. Midterm exam will be 10% of your grade, and your final exam will be 10% of your grade. So again, it's important that you do all your work that's assigned each week, that you turn it in on time, because we don't do there's no late work. In other words, your due date for each week's work is the 11:59 on the day that it's due. So you need to pay attention to that. So once a week, you'll be turning everything in, finishing things up for one chapter, 1 week's work, and ready to go the next day on the next week's chapter. And you do just need to keep moving along. There's your A, B, C, D, F. I hope nobody's in that category, but what your percentage needs to be here once you figured out this whole total grade. Again, we looked at the syllabus, and this is just information about what we expect as we work together through the course. Let's come down here to part 2 of the syllabus. Okay, and this is a kind of a calendar, a short calendar on how things are going to work. In other words, what needs to be turned in, dates on each of the chapters, each of the units. There's unit 1, unit 2. Here's our midterm. Unit 3, unit 4, unit 5, all the way down to when we get to the very last and our final exam. Again, there's one that gives you a little more information. I'm going to show that to you next. But let's come back to table of contents here. And this is our sidebar over here, which is lots of our links to kind of all the information that's in the course. So we have a top navigation bar here where we have your course home, and that's where we saw the announcements. We're writing content right now, but there's also assignments, discussions, quizzes, grades, class progress, and course tools. you're going to be use content a lot, use assignments a lot, discussions, of course, when we have quizzes, and I'm sure you'll be checking grades. They're the ones you use the most. But then there's also the sidebar of information, which runs down the side here. You can also look here, and I would recommend, first of all, I'd recommend that you print your syllabus so that you have that. And again, you want to make sure you get the correct book. So make sure you have that 9th edition of the Ehrlich book. You want to make sure that you have that. And now let's look here at our schedule. And there's the schedule for this semester. Gives you a link here to print it. I would print it, and that way you can see. Here's unit 1. Here's our first week. Second week, third week, fourth week. So you can see just what week you're in and your homework, what's going to be covered in that week, when things are due, and if there were any major tests. So you want to make sure, again, I would print this, I'd put it in the front of my book, keep it with my book, keep it with everything you're gathering for the course. You want to make sure that you stay on target. Let us go to Unit 1 weekly schedule. Oh, never mind, let's not. I'm sorry, go back to our table of contents. All right, here we go. Here is Unit 1, Week 1. Let's go in and take a look at what you're going to be doing during Week 1. Okay, first of all, you need to do your readings for Unit 1, Week 1. And prior to beginning any of the lessons or links that are online, you want to make sure that you read this, and after completing the reading, you have Unit 1, Lesson 1, and Unit 1, Lesson 2, Unit 1, Homework 1, Chapter 1, Spelling Practice, Chapter Review, Unit 1, Discussion and Introduction. So a lot to be done. What you're going to start with is a review of, after reading that, the APA citation and format information. And then there's a quiz. Under homework and assignments, you'll also find your spelling practice. And under quizzes, you'll find the review quiz, and you'll also find the homework quiz. So let's go down here into modules. Here's that gives you the overview, what you're doing all. Now, down to specifics. This contains a short video here of understanding medical terminology, and then there are links to tutorials here on the APA format and reference citations that you're going to need to use for the discussions. So that's what we're going to be doing this week. Then you can do Chapter 1, Lesson 2, contains a video, which is the importance of medical terminology. And then you're going to complete your readings and the video. And then you would begin working on your discussion post. Here's your reading unit for Chapter 1. Chapter 2, Human Body, and this is for Chapter 2, I'm sorry. I'll get me ahead. That's the second week, so we will stop here. All right. If you have, let's go to assignments. There's a couple of them there. Here's homework 1. Okay. So here for your information for homework 1. Here's your tutorial, which you're going to watch. Another piece of that tutorial is here. And here you don't actually upload any assignment. You're going to watch these. After you've watched them, you're then going to go to quizzes. and you're going to take homework 1 quiz. So if I go to quizzes, there's homework 1 quiz, and you're going to answer some questions that are on those short little videos you watched on the APA format. Let's go back to assignments. This is the next thing that's due this week, which is the first week, the Chapter 1 spelling assignment. Okay, using the list of frequently used medical terms, and there is a link to it from Chapter 1. Create a document with each of the terms from the list for Chapter 1, spelled correctly, and define. Then copy and paste text to submit. Okay, so you're going to go to your list, which is right here, print that out. Let's go to it so you can see it. And here are the words for Chapter 1. Actually, there's 2 pages of it. So even if you don't have your book yet, you can still complete this. You can start with this exercise. You can go backtrack and do your reading of Chapter 1. But you can begin by printing out this list and creating your document that has the term abnormal. And you can look it up if you don't have your book. It's easier to do if you have your book. But if you don't, you can look it up online. You can look all these up online, your definitions. So you have your list that you're going to begin studying. Now, I would also recommend that you print out that list so that you have it. And then when you are finished, and you're going to upload it when you're in assignment. So it says go back to assignments. You're going to submit your. I can't submit it. That's one thing it doesn't let me do is when I'm in here as a student. So I'm going to have to feel that out when you're on there. But you want to submit it here so that it would come to me, because I'm not really a student. I can't do. But you want to make sure that you submit your list of your terms from Chapter 1, and you're going to be doing that in each chapters 1, 2, and 15, which are the first, which are Unit 1 chapters. We're going to be doing all the words on that list. When we move forward into Unit 2, you are not necessarily doing them all, but you're going to be picking out certain terms that you want to do. Those spelling assignments are important because, and I'm going to go back to what we're looking at here in getting started. And here's that same list. This is just another link that frequently used medical terms. Medical terms for Chapter 1. All those terms on that list are the terms that you need to learn during this semester. You will see them on the unit tests. You'll see them on the midterm. You'll see them on the final. You need to practice them and practice them and practice them and get good at spelling the term, and they need to be spelled correctly. And you need to make sure that you know the definition, because that's what you're going to, they're the words, the terms that you're going to be tested. So again, there's your biggest helpful hint. They're the ones that you want to learn. Anyway, so that's essentially how you're working through each unit. Is you look and see what chapter you're supposed to read. So each week, what you're going to do is you will start with back to okay. You're going to be reading the chapter, and then in each chapter, there's certain things that you're going to do. Usually, there's some sort of a short video or informational thing that is online. Then you need to go to assignments and finish any assignments or homework for that with that chapter. If there's a discussion, you'd need to do that. If there's any quizzes, and like there was a homework quiz for Unit 1, so you would want to do that homework quiz. So, Unit 1. Unit 1 is right here. So we want to make sure, watch your little videos, anything that you're supposed to watch. And then you want to make sure after you've done that, after you've watched the videos, read the chapter, then you go to your assignments that you need to do for that chapter. Okay. And then any quizzes that you need to do for that chapter. And at the end of each chapter, there is a chapter review quiz. Now they wind up being, there you go, chapter review for your Unit 1. And that's going to have you apply some of the terms that you just learned. So basically, in every chapter, you're going to find there's a couple little assignments that you need to do each week. There's always going to be some spelling words. There's usually just a homework assignment. And then there's the chapter review for each chapter. Basically, that's what you do each week. I will, starting probably middle of this week, post a little message, an announcement to you, which reviews everything that you need to do in order to complete the week's work. In other words, make sure you do the spellings, make sure you do any of the quizzes, make sure you do the chapter review, just to help you kind of touch base and make sure you haven't missed anything. In each unit, the other thing we didn't talk about, in each unit, before you finish a unit, there's going to be a discussion for each unit. And that is where you would go to do your discussions. In fact, as you do the startup, they ask you to go in and actually do an introduction yourself, where you go in and talk a little bit about yourself and goals and what you're interested in doing. But then for each unit, there is a discussion. And it's important that you make sure you follow the directions for that, and be posting some information about that as we get. So basically, that's what you're going to do each week. Again, I will post and send out Zoom invitations to some getting started Zoom meetings. In other words, if you have questions about what you need to do or how you're going to work on something, or whatever it may be, please join it and ask questions. That's always helpful to find out what people need to know. I think that kind of covers what we're going to be using here as we work through the course. Anyway, but please keep in touch. If you have questions, I'd rather resolve it. It helps you move along and get finished with what you need to do. Remember, you don't want to fall behind. And you want to practice your terms, practice your spelling of your frequently used terms, practice your defining it. So you want to, if you want to just make flashcards for yourself so that you keep working on them, it's all a good idea. I look forward to working with you this semester and let me know if you have questions. Have a great semester.